Welcome to Zen Live. See, I have a martini glass, but no martini. So yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, so much has passed, I came on with my little talk to say that I was signing up on Thumbtacks as a spiritual counselor so I could create spiritual dialogues with people. And so all day yesterday I was flying this, I was, pumped up and flying this balloon, the whole day. I was redoing my website and creating the profile and writing all about myself and all of this stuff, you see. And about at dinner time at dusk, the hot air out of the balloon just left it, and the whole balloon just came down to earth, and there was no energy for it. What's the truth here? What's the truth here? And so I didn't complete the process of signing up on the Thumbtacks punctured my balloon. Everything's a metaphor. So today's been a very powerful day, full of energy and writing and whatever. And now I want to share with you what I constantly talk about. Joseph Campbell talked about it. He said, make life transparent to the transcendent. Well, that sounds really good, but what does it mean? Well, what it means for me is make my story transparent to the transcendent. And what's the transcendent but now? Now, a good metaphor for this, I was just writing about this, is if you ever stand at the crossroads or sit in your car in the front row waiting for a train to pass, you might say, oh, each one of these boxcars has a name and maybe some graffiti. So you go vroom, 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 and you try to read the story on the boxcars. And you're presented with a wall. So then what if you relax your eyes and focus on the road on the other side? Now you begin to see through the gaps in the cars, and you see people there like you standing there, and you see the road, and you see the hills beyond. And the boxcars become transparent to the whole. But as long as you're reading boxcars, reading your story, it becomes opaque. And you can't see the whole, the now, the whole of reality. Your reality is divided. And you read your story of reality. You see, because it's opaque. You can't see through it. It's not transparent. But when it's transparent, the whole road becomes visible, which is the now. So yesterday, my story had, my life has been a series of trial balloons. I'll come up with I'll do this project, I'll become a yoga teacher, I'll become a this or that, or I'll come up with a program for stress management, or I'll come up for this and everything. And so I'll get all this energy and I'll fly this thing up, and then it used to be weeks, months, years I'd be up in this balloon. But as my practice goes on, the balloon's flight gets shorter. Hopefully I'll come to the point where I don't even turn on the gas. Yesterday's flight was one day. But after it deflated, and my story became, look at a balloon, you can't see through it. It's your story. It's opaque. So my story was opaque. And what was my story? But I'm getting older, I'm 81 years old. When am I going to be a spiritual teacher? When am I going to have students? I can't wait around here. Time's running out. I got to do something. I got to get something off the ground here. I got to make some effort, you see. The paradox is, or the contradiction is, that the spiritual life is a life of surrender. Spiritual teaching is surrender, right? So if you're going to make all this effort to create a balloon so you can teach from that, that's not surrender. Now, I don't mean you can't make a project or get a job, but if the purpose is spiritual teaching, it's my experience that you can't make that happen. I mean, you can't manipulate it and strategy. You get a strategy for it and create a package and bottle it and put it on the internet shelf and sell it. You see? I mean, you can do that, but there's nothing wrong with that. But it won't be a living teaching, and you can't make something living happen. There has to be a surrender to it. So anyway, that was my story, because I've been flying these balloons all my life, and now the fun is seeing through my story when I fly it, making my balloon become transparent. And of course, when you see that your balloon, your story, is transparent, you no longer believe in it. You no longer believe it's real. And when we believe it's real, that's the hot air that pumps it up. Why? Because we've invested ourselves in it. I've invested my power in it. I've invested my time in it. I've invested my identity in it, you see, and got to blow this thing up, you see. Of course, the plus side of it is that you keep creating these balloons. You develop more skills in writing and programming and design and all the stuff that goes into making these balloons. You see, you increase your skills, so next time it'll fly, because I didn't do a good enough job with that last project. This one will fly, you see. I'll get better. So you build your skills up, you see, and fly that sucker again, and it gets a little way, and then finally the air cools. And this is Zorba the Greek. What do? You dance on the balloon. When the balloon comes down, you dance on the balloon. You know, it may go with the pop, or it may go with the big farting sound. But the Zorba wisdom is, now is the time to dance. Now is the time to dance. There's no better dance on a deflated balloon, on a busted story, you see. So anyway, I hope, I wanted to put a footnote for my talk yesterday evening, as I was all pumped up. It was really, the talk was the last thing before the balloon deflated. I gave that talk, and then it went. So may your balloons become transparent. May your stories become transparent. You see, may you see through the boxcars and see the road ahead clearly. Clearly. Thanks for dropping in.